If you didn't listen to the other parts, it's important that you understand, at least for context, and I'll ask you to give me the benefit of the doubt for now, that when we're talking about the Spirit, we're not talking about something like you learned in the sort of charismatic churches or something, more this ethereal sort of thing. The Spirit simply is the mind of the Father. That's the Spirit, the fullness of how He intended things to be. And so the mind of the Spirit is Torah. We see that in here, that the Torah is the mind of the Father. That's how He thinks, that's how He does things and would do things and have us to do things. He could have given us all a nice, simple book where everything was laid out nice and linearly and you could follow along, but He didn't. He gave us a book where you actually have to work at it. You got to search out, seek out, and put the puzzle pieces together. You know, I know a lot of you get excited if you ever buy a puzzle and like some of the pieces are already together, and you'd like it if that worked the same way with Scripture, but it doesn't. You have to go and put them together. He wants you to make the effort to seek Him, to understand, and to allow the Ruach to lead you, the Spirit to lead you to that understanding. So how do you know if the Spirit dwells in you? Well, you're going to be doing the things of the Spirit, not of the flesh. See, we have a spirit in man. There's also the spirit of Elohim. There's also the spirit of Hasatan, the spirit of disobedience. We have these three things vying for control over us. We have to choose who we're going to submit to. Paul talks about works. He's saying if you're going to do the deeds or works of the flesh, you're going to die. You do the works of the Spirit, you're going to live. By the way, nowhere does he mention the word salvation here. Okay, well, let's always remember, and that's why you might need to listen to the teaching called Are You Saved? To understand salvation and works have a relationship, but they're not one or the other. Salvation makes the works useful. Without salvation already being made possible, your works there's no effect. Do you know why we have so many things that are going on in America the way they are? Is because this country is founded on rebellion against authority. And for the last 200 years, see, you don't see quite this attitude in Europe, in Asia, in Africa, other places where they've been under authority a lot longer. That doesn't mean they don't ever rebel there. It's just a different mindset. They have their self-sovereignty issues to a certain degree. We have it worse than everybody because no other country could have came up with the me generation. I mean, that's a purely American concept that we would actually call a whole generation the me and brag about it. We have verses that we read in Paul's writings and we read in other places in this teaching that we're talking about the circumcision was the metaphor. Circumcision for those native, uncircumcision for the people that are not native. He said, if you don't do what you're supposed to do, isn't your circumcision counted as uncircumcision? In other words, he's saying, if you don't do what you're supposed to, you're just like a goy. You're just like a Gentile. You're just like the nations. So you got no claim to anything just because you were born into this. Bloodline doesn't matter. Bloodline actually holds you to a higher judgment because you should know better type of thing, you know. I mean, come on, you're born into this stuff. And you hear sometimes from Paul saying, guys, you're born into this. Wake up. What are you doing? But he's also saying, look, but once you are led by the Spirit, you are sons of Elohim. It doesn't matter what you were born. They understood that Torah holds the universe together. Okay? That the universe was created to be held together by Torah obedience. And we can guess that that's what brought the flood, is that actually the world got ripped apart because nobody was keeping it. Only had Noah and that's it. And so look at the world, the hurricanes, the earthquakes, the volcano eruptions, the tornado. The world is really starting to tear apart again. Why? Look at what the people are doing. Because the whole world, the creation is anticipating when we will bring this about where everybody will start to learn to keep Torah again. Because the world is suffering. The planet is suffering because of this. It's literally ripping the fabric of the creation apart, all the sinning that's going on. See, it's hard to get that emotional about something that you can't see or touch or experience yet. We get little tastes of it now. But the suffering, that's real. And I can touch it, feel it, see it, hear it. I mean, I can, full sensory. It's all over me and I'm all over it. I know it. But can we say that it's not even worth comparing so that we can put it in a better place? So he's saying, look, stop judging each other. We have somebody dealing with all of these things. And we have an intercessor for us who actually understands exactly what really happened. Because I got to tell you, as a ministry person, I get to listen to both sides of things all the time, and I still have no idea what happened. So he's not going to stop loving you, but guess what? It's loving to chastise you. It's loving to cut you off temporarily. This is all loving things. Why? Because if it works and gets your attention, and then you make teshuvah, that's love. Coddling is not love. Enabling is not love. Codependency is not love. You know what? We expect the Creator to be codependent with us. We do. We accept him to be in a codependency relationship with us. Not going to happen. And then when he's not, we get all mad. Well, but actually he's showing you love. But then Abba has to call them and draw them out. And remember what that felt like. He disturbed your peace. You either felt that something was missing or wrong or both. Until that happened, you were happy as pie, just hanging out and going to the church. Why? Because you had an ardor, you thought you were doing all the right things, and you did it the best you could. A lot of you did that. But then he disturbed your peace, and then you started to seek and search and ask and knock. The goal of Torah observance is not works to say, okay, you got to let me in, I'm such a great guy. No, the goal of Torah observance is to change you from what you are into what he is. That's the goal. I'm really hoping that we're seeing that Yeshua is the walking, talking Torah. That embracing one, you need to be embracing the other because they're the same. So even though I said one and the other as if they're different, we think that we're embracing Torah, we think we're embracing Yeshua. They're the same thing. He is the full embodiment of what it looks like to be lived in life. He is the goal. Torah is supposed to make you like him.